じゃあ、let's go back to today's contents なんだけど、today's contents is looks like this. まあなんかちょっとあったグランス。これ見るか。こっち。Today's topic is two main parts. Hearing sense と visual sense. Hearing sense, visual sense. Hearing sense. The two parts. The first part is also divided into two sub-parts. One is this ear. Hearing senses, acoustic senses, the structure and mechanism of human ears, and the substitution system to support auditory function. And about the visual sense is also the similar structure. The first subpart shows the mechanisms and functions of visual sensation of human being. And the second subpart is auxiliary or substitution system of visual function. だから biological fact and engineering support system. Biological fact and engineering support system. Both. So because if you want to do some design the mechatronic system to support, for example, the visual impairing person or visual difficulty person, auditory difficult person, you have to know the characteristics of the acoustic sensation itself and also the visual sensation itself. And then based on that, you should design some engineering approach to solve the difficulty problem. で、これはここからこう1、2、3、4、3ぐらいがオーディトリーセンスのバイオロジカルファクトで、エンジニアリングアナリシス、and the support system or substitution system. This looks like this. This is the auditory sense part. And the second part is the visual sensation part. Visual sensations part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seat showing the visual sensation itself. And then the auditory system, engineering system is from here, like this. Okay? This is the structure of today's contents. Okay? はい。で、そうだ。じゃあ最初これだ。これね、West Japan International Welfare Equipment Device Fair related to today's topic. It's because welfare system. So therefore, some technical aid welfare system is demonstrated in this case, in this exhibition, which will be held next month, middle of the next month. Not only the weekday, but also the Saturday, it is open to public. So therefore, if you have some time, you should visit there and what is the latest products about the technical aids. Okay, this is a chance to understand about that. Some exhibitions is これ小倉ね、小倉のWest Japan General Exhibition Center Next でやってます。で、ここがエキシビションは北九州リハビリテーションセンターとかアソシエーションオブケアグッドプロバイダーズとか福岡機器ネットとか機器っていうのはエクイプメントネットワークとか福岡システムテクノロジーネットワークとかテクニカルエイドセンターとか It is exhibited related to company or some users, the welfare facilities, care home or nursing facilities is demonstrating something. So therefore, if you have some time, you should visit there. And also the welfare vehicle, not only the electric wheelchair, but also some vehicles. Nissan, Toyota is exhibiting some automobiles for the wheelchair users. Will exhibit there. Maybe. I don't know exactly, but and the seminar, it will be held in Japanese, maybe, but the Ministry of Health and Labor and Welfare and Ministry of Export, Trade and Industry. I don't remember exactly. These so the national governmental governor will be present something about the Japanese, some the political approaches to solve these problems. And then the nursing home in Daiden is presented there, so that if you want to do something, please attend there. Yes. ね、これが this exhibition. And also I will inform you about some of you knows IES, IPS ですね。IES、IPS、はい。これです。小さいか。50ですか？これ何？12th International Collaboration Symposium on Information Production Systems. For here, every year we have a workshop about the research topics with collaborative partners and abroad, not only Japan but from China or India or some other countries. They are attending here, and it will be held on similar things, 14th and 16th November. And the program is shown here. これだ。オープニングセレモニーはからって、ブリーフィングヒアandキーノートスピーチがプロフェッサー田中と、これは上海チャートンユニバーシティのアソシエイトプロフェッサーが will present about the deep learning. He is present about the deep learning. And then the technical session will be held, scheduling pervasive computing, biological sensing, scheduling, data processing, human activity. And also the workshop will be held. One workshop will be presented by the IIT Delhi's Dr. course student, learning robot kinematic using robo analyzer. So the robo analyzer is this is a kind of a tutorial workshop. So therefore, if you are interested in about the robot manipulator control, you should attend there. He will explain about the forward kinematics and inverse kinematics about that and the usage of robo analyzer software simulation system. It can be downloaded from this website, so that you do it. And also the second day is an oral session in the morning and the poster session in the afternoon. The poster session will be held at the student computer lab room. So if you have some time, maybe you are so busy about having the lecture classes, but if you have a vacant space about in these days, you should attend some of the keynote speech or some of the oral sessions, if you can, because also the IPS student will present there. Chu Chen will also present there in robot application, some image processing this session. Image processing session とか見ると、 これだ。Image segmentation and brand recognition in robot picking task っていうので、キールクリズム。ね、例えば、for example。とか、まあ、ここはちょっと IPS の人が書かない。とか、インディアの人とか、これも IPS の人が書かない。とか、まあ、サウスイーストユニバーシティの人とか、あとどこあるみたい。インディアン。これもインディアンか。これはオートマティクス。これもサウスイーストか。サウスイーストか。コリアン、プサンナショナルユニバーシティ。なんか喋ります。OK。So please access IS/IPS page and you find the if you want まあ registration should be but まああんまりno meaning これもう終わってるね。でもまあ maybe you can register はいです。This is also the information これは overlapping this period 同じです。Almost a similar period it will be held in here IPS and some rooms is used for the conference 3 rooms are used for this workshop N159 N105 向こうってですね North Building room will be used for this conference です。はい、this is information ね。はい、じゃあ go back to the first page これですね。Auditory senses か。ちょっと待ってね、あともう40分ぐらいか。40 minutes I have to do はい、じゃあfirstly about auditory sense ね。Sound is a wave ね。Wave compressed wave compressed wave thin dense wave longitudinal wave これ wave じゃん wave longitudinal wave What's the meaning of longitudinal wave? はい、what is 縦波縦波ってどういう意味でしょう What is the meaning of 縦波 Longitudinal はい、どうでしょうわかりませんかリンさん、パッチ
It vibrates and spread at the same direction.
こっちの to go to this and the wave is looks like this. This is a longitudinal wave. And the go to this and this wave is a なんていう
I don't know the word.
そう、あなたもなんていうんですかこれはロンギチューディアルメインまあ普通のノーマルウェーブはい、あと調べてくださいはい、ですで、sound is a ね、こう thin, dense, compressed thin, dense, thin wave is here so you will receive this wave at this membrane これドラム、イヤードラムこれミドルイヤー so outer ear is look like this このイヤーフラップ is collecting the sound and this is a canal and through this canal wave is vibrating this membrane drum and this drum movement is this 3 small bone is here チコスキンタロザグリコスというのは 3 bones Marius, Incus, Stakes という 3 bones is here and this movement is this small bones this longitudinal movement is given here. And then this is a cochlear. Cochlear is a tube, long tube, winding long tube, filled in a liquid. So this vibration is given to this liquid tube. And then this liquid tube is separating to depending on the tone waves frequency, and the low frequency is given to the top, and the high frequency is given to here. So therefore, this system, this cochlear system, is make the distinguish the wave tones, okay? And also these three semi-canals, three semicircular canals, is also filled in a liquid, and this liquid movement. So if you move your head, the three different waves, these three semicircular canals liquid is moved in a different more movement. So therefore you can distinguish this is the tilt movement, the knocking movement, or something you can distinguish by using these three semicircular canals. というものです。で、いいや、次、next。それはcochlear is looks like this. This is the final third small bone is here, and the small bone is pushing this part. And this pushing part is gives some waves to this tube filled with liquid. These three chambers is here, and this is one membrane, second membrane is here, and this hair cell sensor cell is here, and this hair is waved due to the vibration. So therefore here, the high tone is vibrated mostly here, and low sound is vibrated mostly here. So this is a frequency discrimination is made along these canals here. ちょっとなんだこの説明を見ましょうか。2 minutes pause.
Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the cochlea. When sound waves travel through the canal of our ear, they hit the tympanic membrane or eardrum and cause it to vibrate. This vibration prompts movement in the ossicles, a trio of tiny bones that transmit the vibration to a structure called the oval window, which sits in the wall of the cochlea. The cochlea is a tiny coiled structure in the inner ear that resembles a snail shell. The interior of the cochlea consists of 3 fluid-filled canals that run parallel to one another: the scala vestibuli, the scala media, and the scala tympani. The scala vestibuli and scala tympani contain a fluid called perilymph, and the scala media contains a fluid called endolymph. When the oval window is depressed by the ossicles, it creates waves that travel through the fluid of the cochlea. These waves cause a structure called the basilar membrane to move as well. To visualize the function of the basilar membrane, it can be helpful to imagine the cochlea uncoiled. When waves flow through the fluid in the cochlea, they create small waves within the basilar membrane itself that travel down the membrane. Different sections of the basilar membrane respond to different frequencies of sound, and as the waves progress down the membrane, they reach their peak at the part of the membrane that responds to the frequency of the sound wave created by the original stimulus. In this way, the basilar membrane accurately translates the frequency of sounds picked up by the ear into representative neural activity that can be sent to the brain. The translation of the movement of the basilar membrane into electrical impulses occurs in the organ of corti, which is the receptor organ of the ear. It sits atop the basilar membrane and contains receptor cells known as hair cells. Hair cells are so named because protruding from the top of each cell is a collection of small hairs called stereocilia. When the basilar membrane vibrates, this causes movement of the hair cells and their stereocilia. Movement of the stereocilia opens ion channels and causes the release of neurotransmitters to propagate the auditory signal to the vestibulocochlear nerve, which will carry the information regarding the auditory stimulus to the brain to be analyzed and perceived. Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss.
はい、というわけです。だからなんていうかな、さっきのもう一個 こっちの方が見やすいか分かりやすいか。これだ。これをリワインドしてストレートにすると、だからローフリーケンシーはこっちの方で、ハイフリーケンシーはこっちの方。今逆だな。1パートにヘアセルってさっきセルでなんかヘアがペンペンペンってヘアセル、ね、ヘアセルでそのヘアがウェーブとすると this cell is become activate and make the action potential. This action potential is given to the brain, and then we can understand which kind of sound is there. The ear capture. Okay. ちょっとこれだけではなかなかわかんないですけど、ちょっと他にも。ちょっとこっちも見なきゃいけないですかね。これはこうか。
Quick points have to reach the particle enough to move the fluid in the end. So you are continually, the organ of the membrane with the short fibers vibrates in response to high frequency pressure. And the areas with the longer fibers resonate up the auditory pathway to the cerebral potentials, so-called hair cells, each of which has tiny hair-like structures sticking out of it. And when one
このヘアセルで、ここにヘアセルで、このセルにここにヘアがあって、ここにフルイドが to move. If it is vibrated, this fluid is moved. So therefore, this hair is waved. So therefore, this cell is excited and make the action potential. っていうのが。
is triggered, it opens up mechanically gated sodium channels. That influx of sodium then generates graded potentials, which might lead to action potentials, and now your nerve.
で、ここのリワインディングパートところで、which part hair cell is become activated, and this action potential is given to the brain, and then we can understand which sound is hearing now or somewhere else. です。You should watch later about more in detail. です。はい、で、エンジニアリングアナリシス。エンジニアリングアナリシス。で、イヤードラム is modeled using the FEM, finite element method. What is finite element method? Which is divided into small particles, and the small particle has some mass, and each part is connected between the mass damper system. So therefore, the small mass damper connection is making this network, and then this model is when it is given some vibration, how much which kind of vibration is given to whole of this eardrum. Which kind of movement is generated by using these three small bones is simulated, and then the result is frequency analysis of middle ear. で、ここにこのイヤードラムにsome sound is given, and then this bone's head is moves linearly. It is analyzed and simulated. あんまりしませんね。はい、まあこんな感じです。The next, it is also the cochlear is the models. So the one tube filled with fluid is some model is given here, and this ear part is bones. is moved, make some vibration. And then which kind of frequency is given here is analyzed using the Cochlear's 例えばフルイドダイナミクスモデルとか using also the basilar membrane the motion equation とか言って one degree of freedom analysis, vibration analysis, and by using the liquid part and it is also the material part, and then using the boundary conditions and initial conditions. So therefore the specific frequency discrimination is simulated. For example, 1 kHz, the input wave is given here. The which part is vibrated most is also it is simulated. The auditory support system, the assist device, and using the tactile sense, using the visual sense. Firstly, about the assist sense, hearing aid, middle ear implant. Implant is some artificial equipment is implanted inside the body. In this case, middle ear implant is this vibration part. Vibration pickup is the implanted inside of body. And then the outside body has some microphone and some signal processor make some signals, and through this skin surface, this waves, signals, electrical signal is transmitted, and this transmitted signal, based on this transmitted signal, the vibration part is make the vibration in place of the eardrum and 3 small bones. So therefore, this middle ear implant is when some patient with damaged eardrum and the 3 small bones, it is replaced to this mechanical pickup or electrical vibrator. Okay? です。それがこれ。これ。inside of this vibrator is in place of this eardrum and 3 bone system. This cantilever is vibrating this part, like this. This cantilever is implanted. So this part is implanted inside of the head, inside of this head. Okay? ということです。次。これじゃなくて、次これだ。Cochlear implant. If the cochlear is damaged, this 3 canal system, fluid system, これか。This 3 liquid canal and also this membrane is damaged. In place of this, some electrode is implanted inside the cochlear. So the electrode is inserted through this canal, through this cochlear. ちょっと見ますか？キューちゃん、ちょっと静かにしてこい。これ、エレクトロードね、エレクトロード inside of this canal. And then the place in some places. ちょっと開けとくの開けとくでいいけど、あいつらを喋らせる。いいよ、もう開けて通り過ぎたら開けていいよ。これだから今inserting ね。inserting and place some places. So this is placed here. and then this electrode is stimulated in place of the hair cell. The nerve system is working now, so therefore this part of the nerve system is activated, and then some electrode signal is given to the action potential is transferred to the brain. Looks like this. こうだからエレクトロードがこのワインディングコイルの中にインサーテッドというわけです。ちょっと見ますか？ビデオどっか2分ぐらいの How cochlear implant works、はい。
In case of sound waves striking the ear, they pass through the canal to the eardrum. From there, the sound waves are mechanically transmitted to the inner ear and amplified. In the inner ear, you can find the cochlea. The cochlea consists of 3 different canals. The middle canal is the organ of hearing and consists of sensitive hair cells. The hair cells can be stimulated electrically and forward the signal to the nerves, and then onto the brain. In most cases of deafness, the hearing nerve still remains functional, but the hair cells have been damaged or even lost. In a cochlear implant system, sound enters a microphone and travels to an external mini-computer called a sound processor. The sound is processed and converted into digital information. This digital information is sent over a transmitter antenna to the surgically implanted part of the system. The implant will turn the sound information into electrical signals that travel down to an electrode array inserted into the tiny inner ear or cochlea. The electrodes directly stimulate the auditory nerve, sending sound information to the brain. Bypassing the damaged inner ear, the cochlear implant provides an entirely new mechanism for hearing.
まあいいや、というわけだ。OK。Directly the electrode stimulates the nerve system. で、コスト。Example cost. To do this implant, the surgical cost. And after surgery, during surgery, medication is necessary. So the drugs delivery is necessary, and the equipment set itself, and also the some examination and hospitalization and rehabilitation is necessary. So how much is it? For example, まあいいや、30万円。手術、サージカルコストは about 300,000 yen。300,000 yen で、この機械自体、this equipment itself is 270万円。more than the automobiles。で、それからあとは、ケアリングで100万円ぐらい。So therefore the 400万円ぐらい will cost for this equipment, surgical implantation.
Why is it so expensive?
Why
is it so expensive?
はい、
Why is it so expensive?
はい。
The equipment.
この equipment so expensive だよね。Because only the small number of products is used. So therefore, and also the development cost is very important. And also to prevent the suffering from virus or something, to become it is a commercial product, many examinations, animal tests, human tests, and so on, and also the license will be provided and some administration allowance from the governmental organization is also necessary. So therefore, the many costs is necessary to become the commercial product. So therefore, this equipment itself is not so expensive, but to some additional cost, developmental cost and some commercialized cost is input here, so therefore it's so expensive. で、400万円でしょ ?400 万円。But in Japan, the health insurance is applied, so therefore about 10万円とか10万円 is necessary for each individual patient. So the other cost is supported by the health insurance system in Japan. です。まあ、presently. あとこれは voice change to the tactile vibration. で、あとは watching this まあ hand gesture ですね、finger gesture とか、それはバボット、some earロボットとか、some hand ロボット、バルーンロボットとか、some displaying robot to hand gesture, finger gesture. And also some mime system is also there. You are usually watching maybe in some case. It is animation software is also available. And the learning system of the hand gesture language is also available now. So up to here is the auditory sense. And the next 20 minutes I will explain about the visual sense. Okay? Visual sensations, you may watch this cornea and this crystal lens and glass body and some the nerve system, nerve cell is there, optical nerve cell is there, and then this nerve cell's wire in is from this black spot part. It is the score to the brain. こうです。まあこうです、こうです。まあレティナ。レティナ is there, and retina it has some neural layer systems. So これ this is the inside of the lens. Inside of the eyeball is here, and this is for example なんだこれだからニューラルネットワークストラクチャー some layer retina neural network system is here. ロットセル、コーンセルこれがだからロットセル、コーンセル is a two main sensitive sensor of the optical brightness and color. And then the other neuron system is connected to these cells. And these neurons make some pre-processing signals. And then from this cell, the action potential is generated and given to led to the brain. これね、ロットセル、コーンセルで、horizontal cell, bipolar cell, and amacrine cell. And then from this ganglion cell, the pulse is given action potential is so the frequency of action potential is given to the brain through the axon optical nerve system っていうシステムです。ということでどれを見たらいいかって言ったら短いやつだったらこれか。
Your eyes allow you to see the world around you, but have you ever wondered how they work? First, it's important to know that vision depends on your brain as much as on your eyes. Your eye's main job is to detect patterns of light. Then, they work with your brain to turn those patterns into images. Let's take a closer look. Light rays bounce off an object you are looking at. Let's say the object is a dog. The light reflects off the dog to your eye. Then, the light enters through the outer part of your eye, called the cornea. The cornea is clear like a window. It helps your eye focus the light to make things look sharp and clear. Next, the light rays pass through an opening called the pupil. The pupil is the dark round circle in the colored part of your eye. The colored part is called the iris. It controls how wide the pupil is and how much light can pass into your eye. In bright light, the iris narrows the pupil, reducing the amount of light that enters the eye. In dim light, the iris widens the pupil to let in more light. All of this happens automatically. Behind the iris is the lens of the eye.
It helps focus the light coming into your eye so you can see things clearly. The lens flattens so you can see things that are far away, and bends so you can see things up close. When the lens, cornea, and pupil are all working together properly, they will focus light on the back of the eye. That's important because lining the back of the eye is the retina. There are about 130 million tiny cells in the retina that are sensitive to light. When these cells detect light, they turn it into electrical signals. Those signals eventually make their way through the optic nerve, which is like a cable connecting the retina to the brain. The retina helps create a rough image, but it sees the world upside down. It's your brain that turns what you see right side up. Also, when you look at an object, each eye gets a slightly different view of the world. The brain combines those views and makes them into one picture. The brain also adds a lot of details to your vision, so that you can see complex shapes, movement, depth, and a rainbow of colors. And of course, the brain connects your sense of sight to things you already know, so that when you see a dog, you recognize it as a dog, not a cat or a monkey. And that's how you're able to see it. To learn more about how your eye...
はい、というわけで、あとこれでちょっと簡体衰退という表現をちょっと見て。
Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the retina. The retina contains the neural component of the eye. When light reaches the back of the eye, it enters the cellular layers of the retina. The cells of the retina that detect and respond to light, known as photoreceptors, are located at the very back of the retina. There are two types of photoreceptors, rods and cones. Rods allow us to see in dim light, but don't allow for the perception of color. Cones, on the other hand, allow us to perceive color under normal lighting conditions. Throughout most of the retina, rods outnumber cones. In one area called the fovea, however, there are no rods but many cones. The fovea represents the area of our retina that provides our highest acuity vision, and thus is at the center of our gaze. When light hits photoreceptors, it interacts with a molecule called photopigment, which begins a chain of events that serves to propagate the visual signal. The signal is transmitted to cells called bipolar cells, which connect photoreceptors to ganglion cells. Bipolar cells pass the signal on to ganglion cells, which leave the eye in a large cluster at an area called the optic disc. The optic disc doesn't contain any photoreceptors, and so represents an area of the retina that can't process visual information, creating a natural blind spot. However, we normally don't notice our blind spot. The brain uses information from surrounding photoreceptors and the other eye to fill in the gaps in the images that are processed by the retina. After leaving the retina, the ganglion cell fibers are called the optic nerve. The optic nerve carries visual information toward the brain to be processed. There are two other cell types in the retina that should be mentioned, horizontal and amacrine cells. Horizontal cells receive input from multiple photoreceptor cells. They integrate signaling from different populations of photoreceptor cells, make adjustments to the signals that will be sent to bipolar cells, and regulate activity in photoreceptor cells themselves. Amacrine cells receive signals from bipolar cells and are involved in the regulation and integration of activity in bipolar and ganglion cells.
Yeah, so it says one hole, black hole is here in the eye. This part is a black hole for there is no sensor, is sensory cell in here, so therefore you can see this part. But always the eye moves always, so therefore we cannot recognize where the invisible part is there in your eye. さておしまいで次。The assistive system. あとは10分ぐらいか。Braille block. Braille is here. He is a French person, and he proposed this block system to recognize one character each. So Louis Braille in France is developed in 1825 alphabet one character to this by using this six-dot system. And also Braille block is now commonly used in a road, the pedestrian walk, to show the information about the signal place or crossway place or something, or the direction to move. And then this is a printer of Braille block alphabet information. This is a dot printer to make the flat plate to some dot. Okay. Also there. And also the Optacon. This is developed in United States, MIT and Stanford professors. This finger is put on this part, put on this part, and then you can understand that this pin, each of the dot is make some lot pin, and the lot pin vibrating. So therefore, if you put on this, and then this camera traces some character, and then this part is vibrated. So therefore, you can read the character A or character something by using the visual vibration transfer system. It looks like this. で、なんかストーリーはちょっとここにオプタコンっていうのは this fundamental part is looks like this, and the desktop equipment is also commercially available in Japan in 1974. Optacom, it is called Optacom, but it only commercialized into 20 years, and then the US company is also closed now. Some story, if you have some time, you should watch these stories about Optacom story about it. Very, very interesting.
Colorblind, the world can be a lonely place. But for this young man, electronic technology has recently opened a whole new horizon.
まあいいや、ちょっと時間ないので、to skip. これとても高く、too expensive. Because to do this, this is very, as I said, for the ear equipment, this also has some cost, so therefore it's so expensive. And also, similarly, the mechanical vibration system or electrode system, electrical stimulus system, this kind of tactile visual substitution system, and also the photoelectrode conversion and the skin sensation is made looks like this. For example, for the wheelchair system and so on is developed, has been developed. Also, the tactile television. The stabilizer is tracing some drawings or characters or something, and thenこのtactile sensation, tactile stimulus system is the tracing on this plate, and then you can feel XY coordinate detecting device. Looks like this. And other technical aid, walking aid for the visually impaired person looks like this. For example, the MOAT sensor is a ultrasonic sensor, ultrasonic the projection and receiving the reflection wave, and then by using the vibration, you can understand where is the obstacle by tracing the handheld this kind of equipment. まあこれは今シミラーに8万円ぐらいですね。Like this. The handheld ultrasonic sensor or IR sensor is used now. And then the ultrasonic eyeglass is also commercially available, has been commercially available. このプロジェクター and receiver and earphone is given some information, which direction the obstacle is there. So these visually impaired person wearing this glass and giving some information, auditory information, and then the distance and direction of the obstacle is detected and given. And the laser cane. So this cane, white cane, is used for on the visually impaired person, and the laser sensor is given this holding part looks like this, and then the 3 direction the ultrasonic wave is given because the foot part and the front part and also the ceiling part is necessary because this kind of obstacle is there. So therefore these equipment there 3 directional wave is generated from this. これ見たいですか？なんかちょっと例えばウルトラケーンって見えますか？ ニメーションですね、これだから。
Meet Michael, our virtual man, who is demonstrating the octocane in action in the street.
これはもうオフしかない。
It sends out ultrasonic beams. If these bounce off objects in the vicinity, the ultracane signals to Michael through vibrating buttons in the handle.
はい、まあそういうもんですよ。OK。で、次のことは、まあ、もちろんガイドドッグとかいうのも、of course, developed。で、これは in Japanese project about まあもう40 years ago とかになるんですけど、40 or 30 years ago. This is a final version of male dog. Mechanical Engineer Laboratory in Japan is developed this series. Mark これは Mark 4か。The ultrasonic sensor is used and this pendant is give some information to this user, the skin sensation or something. はい、で、ガイドケーン、1997, the University of Michigan is developed. It's also the ultrasonic sensor is here, and only it make some changing this device's direction to wheel drive's direction to prevent obstacle. So therefore the user has to only pushing this equipment and give some the direction is given this the turning direction. でそれは例えばどれかって言ったらまあ一番簡単なスマート圏じゃないや CNN のピリオか CNN ニュース。
Lynn Wiggins is blind, but she's learning to steer herself around corners and other obstacles with the help of this sort of seeing eye cane. It's called the guide cane, brainchild of University of Michigan researcher Johann Bornstein.
The guide cane is equipped with 8 ultrasonic sensors in the front and 2 additional ultrasonic sensors that look sideways.
Graduate student Ivan Ulrich helped build it. He demonstrates how the cane guides a sightless person around corners and obstacles.
It detects the obstacle on the right and steers to the left. And now it assumes its original path, its original direction of motion. It will detect the tree on the left. Now the robot will guide me right to the door, and when I'm there, it will beep.
The guide cane is being tested at the Upshaw Institute for the Blind in Detroit, where director Carol Jackson believes it has great promise.
というわけでそういうガイドケーンっていうのもディベロップであとはこのドゥーブルアイとかさこれはなんだボイスっていうやつでだしこれはドゥーブルアイっていうのでそれはこのカメラ TV カメラシグナル is directly given to the brain nerveっていうやつです。だから、so therefore the brain stimulation electrode is implanted inside of his brain, and then this camera information is the pre-processed, and then it is given directly to the brain というやつです。ちょっとこれを見ますかなんか短いです。こんなもんか。
In Second Sight's Argus 2 retinal prosthesis system, a miniature video camera in the eyeglasses captures the scene. Video is processed by a small portable unit and transformed into instructions which are sent back to the glasses. These instructions are then transmitted wirelessly to the implant on the eye. The implant consists of a receiver and an array of electrodes. Instructions are received and corresponding signals sent to the array, which emits small pulses of electricity. These pulses stimulate the retina's remaining cells and are transmitted down the optic nerve, conveying visual information to the brain, which perceives patterns of light. Patients learn to interpret these visual patterns.
この場合はエレクトロードをこのレティナにインプラント and then this electrode stimulus 他のやつも見つかる
Behold, the artificial eye. But where does it come from, and how does it work? Meet William H. Dobell, born in Massachusetts in 1941. William's first patent was for improvements to the artificial hip, but his most well-known innovation involves the eye. While working at the University of Utah's Artificial Organ Institute, William wondered if it was possible to replace the missing electrical stimulation created by retinas and optic nerves with stimulation from cameras and computers. He began implanting electrode arrays in the visual cortex of blind patients. When these electrode arrays were connected to TV and computer systems, the patients could see. William continued this research, eventually building a system with three chief components. First, a small black and white TV camera attached to a pair of glasses. Second, a small computer. And third, an implanted electrode array. As computer technology improved, this device became even more sophisticated. So, what does this artificial sight look like? It does not fully restore vision. William compared it to watching images on a light bulb display at a stadium. Patients see white flashes on a black background, and they learn to interpret these patterns. While there are other artificial vision systems in development, this one has been successful and used by several patients. In 2002, the first U.S. doctor implanted this system in a patient in St. Louis. As research continues, William's electric eye may bring sight to millions of people.
というふうで、で、of course it is now under research and development. はい、だいたいこれで This is the end of this today's contents. It's okay. So if you have some time, there are many interesting videos is there, so therefore you should find and watch.